So welcome all to the ASM-NGS Hackathon 2020. We are focusing on unit testing this year. For 3 days from December 2nd to December 4th, we are going to join here on Zoom at 9 a.m. and continue through the morning, Eastern Standard Time, either here or on Discord. So we have two hosts, me and Boaz. We are going to, first of all, just tell you we're not coming from nowhere. We're coming from somewhere. We have made several contributions to our own repos over the last year. We know what we want in our bioinformatics software, but when we make bioinformatics software, or when others make bioinformatics software, how do you know that the thing works? So how do you know that it works on your computer? How do you know that it works on your friend's computer? How do you know it works on a stranger's computer, your colleague's computer, on a remote server? Well, the answer is to do unit testing and to do it in a very standardized way and don't pull your hair out. However, a lot of bioinformatics software out there does not do unit testing, and I'm hoping that this idea of unit testing penetrates the bioinformatics community and we gain a better understanding of it and make better, more sensible, sustainable software. So if all of that appeals to you, please stick around, and this is going to be really interesting and really awesome. So I'm going to go into those ideas just a little bit here. So let's say you're coding a project called BioTool. The question is, does it work on my computer? Well, let's get a fastq.gz file, run BioTool. Does it run? Okay. It runs, go home, be happy, have a few drinks. But if you want to be a little bit more sophisticated, sustainable, professional, maybe you want to test for a few things. So does it exit with an exit code of 0? Does it make the output file? Is the output file correct? But let's go a step further. So, well, let's say your colleague wants to use it, but it doesn't work. Well, you don't want to be like what my impression of Napoleon Dynamite is, where you're just like, you should have done this. You should have edited this script. You should have installed the dependency. Didn't you know that? So, I mean, the whole process is you'll send them the input file. They'll run it. You'll say, did it work? And they'll say it didn't work. And then you're like, let me debug it for you here. You're supposed to add this thing to your script. You're supposed to, didn't you know you're supposed to have this input folder? It's supposed to have all the fastq.gz files in it. Or you needed to install these dependencies. It's just not like a process you want to do, and it makes you coming off looking bad. Or let's say, here's another case scenario, like you made the tool like a month ago, but you need to change something. Well, that means that you need to go through all your tests again and make sure it works. So you need to remember all the tests that you did on the spot. You need to run those tests. You need to remember how you actually checked all those outputs. And oh yeah, like, does it still work on your friend's computer? So go through all that again. So the answer is unit tests. You create a set of basic tests, and it's not a crazy idea. Like, this is very standardized in different languages. Perl has a way of doing this. Python has a very standard way of doing this. Rust does. Every major language has a way to make a basic test, a very standard way that would work on your computer, on their computer, on a server. And once you package it up in that standard way and you run the tests, well, the tests can test for anything, but some common examples might be testing for an exit code of 0. Does it have like a very basic expected output? Do certain flags work, like -- version? Does that put out a version number, and does it exit with 0? Does -- help work exactly how you expect? And if your unit tests are packaged correctly, then they run correctly on your computer, on GitHub Actions server, on your friend's computer if you send it to your friend, on everywhere. It's a very standard thing, and therefore it runs in a standard way on every computer, theoretically. And if you like the way that I talked about this, we have a deep conversation on our podcast called Microbial-bioinfo, where the co-hosts are myself, Andrew Page, Nabil Ali Khan, and this discussion's in episode 25. So some housekeeping for this hackathon. You made it to the Zoom, so congratulations, we finished the first bullet point here. But I've also copied and pasted it into the chat earlier. If anybody needs it, if anybody else needs it, then please be a good community and paste it again for them. Or if your friend's trying to get on the call, or even if your friend hasn't registered, tell them to register and send them the Zoom link. It's not too late. Later on, we're going to go to Discord. So that's the URL there. That's also in your welcome email. Again, share that with your friend. Tell them to register. If you haven't made a GitHub account, that's not a hard thing to do, even while I'm talking. Just go ahead and make a GitHub account. I've put a link there. I guess you can't click it through Zoom, but again, that's something I copied and pasted into the Zoom instant message. And if anyone needs it, please be a good hackathon citizen and share that. And so this next bullet point is to make time for the hackathon. You get what you put into it. So if you're here just to listen to me talk, okay, you're gonna get that. But if you wanna have hands-on experience and you wanna be part of this, then we're suggesting that you're here for 3 hours in the morning Eastern Standard or where you are at during these sessions, and then make time for your team. You're gonna make a team later and hack away with them. So you might wanna give them 1 hour bare minimum, but you might be putting in 2 or 3 hours for a couple of days to hack it at these unit tests. During the presentations, just a suggestion, I do love seeing everybody, just to make it less distracting, camera off, audio off during the presentations, but also there's gonna be an icebreaker in a bit and I'll ask you to turn it back on. We're gonna be doing a lot of stuff through Git, so a lot of stuff is gonna be Git pull requests. It turns out when I was researching for this slide that you can actually practice forking on the Octocat spoon knife repo. So there are tens of thousands of forks on there because people are practicing it. So you just click on that fork button to fork it, practice it, and then later on we'll ask you to fork our repo, CSIS, and test it out, and you'll do a pull request. So the first part of pull requesting is forking it in the first place. The second part is kind of working on it your own and then making a pull request. So I made this I didn't make this flow diagram, I've put it in the slide. I borrowed this from somebody else. But we're gonna basically have, here we go, I think you can see my mouse on my screen. This is gonna be the main repo where we have very stable versions. And we might just have like this release repo, but we're gonna have a develop branch, a dev branch. And that's gonna be where the main action's gonna be. A lot of changes are gonna happen there. But what's gonna happen is you guys don't have access to edit directly. What you're gonna do is fork it over to your repo under your GitHub username. You'll work on your feature, which is, it's called feature, but it's gonna be a set of unit tests. You'll work on that and then you'll send a pull request to our dev branch, and Boas or I will accept those pull requests and merge them kind of in this very ordered fashion. And we can talk about it more and more. I'm sure that there are lots of questions on that. So again, what are we going to test for when you pull it into your repo? At the very basic, you're going to choose some software, right? And you're going to test and see, does it install? That's a pretty basic unit test. If it doesn't install, then we're going to give it the badge of shame. Exit code of 0 after it runs. If it gives you an exit code of 1, that's not a great sign. Does it make the output file that you expect? So, I mean, if you download and install BioTool, and BioTool doesn't give you that output file that it says it's supposed to do, then it doesn't work. We're gonna say that it doesn't work. And then you can go into some more standard things. I have a few suggestions here. Does it do -- version? Does it do -- help? What does it do when you give it no parameters? Usually that's something similar to help, but not always. How does it work on a 0-byte file? That's another option. So a lot of times the tool should fail, but other times it's a completely legitimate operation. If you give it the wrong type, so over here I've given it 2 CPUs with TWO, that's not an integer actually, so that should actually raise an error and fail. Don't pull your hair out though, so don't, I know this is an international crowd, that means don't make yourself go crazy. So don't pull your hair out. Don't test for every single thing. That's not going to be sustainable on your unit test. So test for only one, test your unit tests on only one or a few files. Don't test it on a million files. Don't test every single function in the code. The code might have 100 different functions. You can't test every single one of those. So test the major workflows or test a single major workflow. Don't test on every single dependency. So your tool might depend on SAM tools. Well, it's not really your job here to test to make sure that SAM tools works. But on the other hand, do make sure to test that the dependency is in your path. So if you type in a command to see where SAM tools is in your path, so you type in which SAM tools, that should give you something. That's a good test to make sure that the dependency is in your path before you start off all the unit tests. So what we're doing, what we're not doing, I want to make a good point here. We are testing other people's software. That includes installing the dependencies because we can't test without those dependencies. Installing the target software that we're going to test and running the target software and doing those individual tests on the target software. We are not fixing their software, so don't waste your time fixing their software. That is a legitimate use of your time, but that is not what we're doing, and that's outside of the scope of this hackathon. So do not fix their software, don't debug it. If you reach out to the authors and they say, oh, it works if you edit the script or if you did XYZ, like what I showed you in the earlier slide, don't answer that, don't do that. It's just, it doesn't work. You can reply to them, okay, like thanks for the tip. And I thought this is a very worthwhile paper that Torsten Seaman published, 10 recommendations for creating usable bioinformatics command line software. It gives great tips. Again, we're not going to fix their code with these tips, but I think that these tips give a great idea for what we could test for if you wanted to come up with some tests. In there, it discusses things like what you should do if the tool isn't given any parameters or if it's given -- help, etc. A lot of people joined just for the thrill of it, and I appreciate it. And they said in their registration, I don't know what I want to test. So that's fine. Here are some suggested software if you don't know, and if you do know, then you can ignore this list. Some software that we found out there that don't already have unit tests that would be great for us include Kraken 2. Some software in the Torstiverse may or may not still have unit testing, so please do test that. That's a lot of that is central to what we do from day to day. We found that FastQC and MultiQC might not have unit tests. Some assemblers that we look at, like Skeezer or Unicycler, we couldn't find the unit tests. It doesn't mean that they're not there, but maybe they're not there. And then we did get a request from the SARS-CoV-2 community to test their software, but I'm a little bit ignorant about which software might be tested. Some of these packages are pipelines and might take 30 minutes to test each time if you're doing it the wrong way. Don't spend 30 minutes testing each time. So you can optimize your unit tests by having, for example, a very small FASTQ file. With Kraken 2, you might make a very small database to load into the memory. Or if it's legitimately a very long pipeline to run, that's not a good option for you to do. and I might express my opinions later if when I go through the groups and talk with you guys and see what you guys chose. And Boas is also doing the same. So I'm a very direct person, but I also realize that some of you guys might be a little bit more shy, and so I'm giving you a heads up right now. In a few more slides, we're gonna have an icebreaker. We'll ask you what your name is, where do you work, what do you do, what is your role in the hackathon? Tell us something interesting about yourself. So part of this hackathon is forming teams. I was torn between having a really funny joke here and just having a demotivating poster, which I think is funny, but anyway, this is just meant to be humorous and not be a comment on everybody. With synergy being a code word lazy people use when they want you to do all the work. I don't think that's going to be the situation with this group. You're here because you want to learn. You're here because you have a mission, or you have your reasons. You're motivated to be here. So I don't think that's going to be the case. I think that we're going to have some really excellent teams here. Some roles that we'd expect in the teams, so you can kind of partition yourselves out. The stakeholder, also sometimes known as the subject matter expert, is the person who cares, who understands the projects. That's the person who's saying, like, guys, we have to test Kraken too. Like, this is an important thing that we use every single day. I know how this software works. I know what we expect from it. The stakeholder is not necessarily the developer, and the developer has knowledge of Git, YAML, the command line. And each team might need a few developers. And optionally, I thought about the data wrangler. Somebody who understands like what the data should look like. The data wrangler might also be somebody who knows what the output data should look like too. All right, and so the purpose for this whole hackathon, so to show which bioinformatics software works as intended, to award a green badge on our GitHub repo. These are our badges right now in the screenshot. To encourage unit testing and target software in your circles, in your teams, for yourselves, but also to encourage unit testing in the bioinformatics community. We want to spread that around. And we might even have a nice deliverable. Like this might be a nice GitHub repo to have in the future to give people an idea of which software works or doesn't work and why it works or doesn't work. So let me just confer with you, Boas. Do we have enough time for a nice icebreaker?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, because there are a bit fewer people than we than signed up, so I think it should be fine. Yeah.
All right. So I know there isn't a great explicit order here, so I'm going to go in order of people who I see on my Zoom screen. So as you're introducing yourselves, please turn on your audio and turn on your video. And I'll start with you, Boas, just to give a good example. Can you tell me your name, where you work, what you do, what is your role in the hackathon, and tell me something interesting about yourself.
Okay, so yeah, my name is Boas van der Putten. I'm a PhD student at the Department of Global Health at the Amsterdam UMC in the Netherlands. Together with Lee, I'm organizing this hackathon, but I think if I have to choose one of these three roles, I would be, I think, data wrangler, maybe. I think it's very interesting to see also what kind of data should not work in a tool. And something interesting about myself. Yes, I'm going to steal something that Ines told me just over half an hour ago, that my name Boas means nice in Portuguese.
Very nice, thank you. All right, Jolinda, I see that you went on. That actually boosted you on my order here. Please tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, sure. Hi everyone, nice to meet you all. My name is Jolinda and I work at the Public Health Service of Amsterdam in the Netherlands. And I work together also with Boas, so that's how I ended up here actually. My role in the hackathon, I think I'm not a developer, so I also think data wrangler would be the best. And the interesting thing is that I actually never wrote any software, I guess. So I'm really a listener here at the hackathon, and I hope to learn a lot these days.
Thank you very much, Yolinda. Sorry for mispronouncing your name earlier. All right. Onya, did I pronounce your name right? I've been trained.
You did actually. That's really impressive. Yeah, nice to meet everybody. Yeah, like Lee said, my name is Anya. I'm at the University of Edinburgh. I'm a PhD student in Andrew Rambo's lab. I guess in terms of roles, I am a fledgling developer. I'm still learning a lot. I wrote my first piece of software this year, and it was crap. And it's getting better, but it's like, does a job. And I think I've learned a lot this year, and I've started trying to write tests, but haven't really been dedicating very much time to it. So interesting thing. Boaz went with his name. My name is a Irish Queen of the Fairies, so that's yeah, I don't know, interesting, I guess.
That's interesting. Thanks. All right, next on the list is Brooke.
Hi everyone, my name is Brooke, and I am a PhD student at Emory University. And I'm in my first year, so I am thinking that my role probably is somewhere in that data wrangler, and then maybe developer a little bit. I'm still learning quite a bit myself, but I'm really excited. Something interesting about me is that I am a triplet, so I think that's cool.
Thanks. All right. Chris, I swear that I'm not trying to go for the Netherlands and Atlanta area people first, but that's just what's popping up right now. Chris Golbeck.
Hey guys. Yeah, I'm Chris. I work at CDC. I'm in 2 different groups. What I do is help them with genomic stuff. The the role, I guess, is to just be involved. The GitHub Actions I haven't touched at all, so I thought that would be cool to learn. Something interesting about myself, I guess I'm a new dad, so I'm learning about all that stuff.
Yeah, we can hear it in your voice. You must have had a great night with your daughter.
Yeah, his first tooth is coming in.
All right, and Yvette, your video also boosted you up to the top. So would you mind introducing yourself also?
Hi everyone, my name is Yvette, and I work with the CDC. I don't even know what my role would be, but I think more of a data wrangler or kind of stakeholder as well, because I've probably worked with all of the tools that we are going to use, and I'm currently working on SARS-CoV-2 as well. So I'll say more between data wrangler and stakeholder. And then something interesting about myself, I think I love to cook and I love to create recipes. I think so.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
So I hope everyone's paying attention to the roles also, because hopefully that will help everyone kind of form their teams and kind of understand each other a little better in a minute. All right, Ines?
Did I cheat it and move myself up when I turned on my camera?
You did, yeah. But it's also a great way of volunteering.
Awesome. I just wanted to make sure that I would show up before Peter and Rafael, just because we're kind of a collection here. So hi, everyone. I think I know a bunch of people here, and I see a lot of new faces as well. So nice to meet you all. My name is Ines. I'm a third-year PhD student at University of Lisbon. I work in the Institute of Microbiology alongside Pedro and Rafael, who are also here. I also have a collaboration with the University of Groningen in the Netherlands. So I'm part of the bioinformatics group there, the national thing, quite cool initiative actually. My role. Honestly, I think I can fit in any of the three categories. I do come here cheating. So I do have a project at hand that I would like to implement, which is called Chewbacca, is a tool to create CG, whole genome MLST schemas, and a little calls for genomic data. And of the three that I dragged into this little adventure, I would say that my place should probably be the stakeholder, because I am not the main developer of Chewbacca. I've never been the main developer of Chewbacca. And they are a lot more proficient at the other two. So I'm going to consider myself a stakeholder here. Something interesting about myself, I talk a lot, which is kind of noticeable now. I hate cooking, and I make a lot of jokes, and people might say that I mistreat my slaves, but that is a lie. I'm a very nice person. I bring them cookies sometimes, and I like wine.
Thank you.
I hope that was good.
Yeah, you are well introduced now. Justin?
Hi, everybody. I'm going to try to turn the camera on. This is the other camera, so it's in the wrong place. But yeah, I'm Justin Payne. I work at the U.S. Food and Drug Administration in food safety, biosurveillance. I've been a part of the Genome Tracker project now since its inception. And I'm a software developer and kind of general data engineering, odd job sort of guy. Something interesting about me, I wrote this in the Discord introductions, but at the last ASM-NGS, I DM'd a session of Dungeons and Dragons for a number of people in the ASM-NGS attendance community, which ran super interestingly. It was weird.
I love it. And you're the only person to make a really fun position for yourself on the registration, Archmage. Mike? You're still on mute.
Now
Good.
It works. All right, sorry about that. Hey, Mike Wiegand. I am also at the CDC. I spend my time studying genomes of respiratory bacteria, specifically pertussis and Corynebacterium. My role in the hackathon, maybe somewhere between a stakeholder and a data wrangler. Not a strong developer, but I dabble here and there, so I'm always a little embarrassed when somebody asks me where my GitHub page lives, that they may go and start judging me quietly. But I got sort of peer pressured into joining this hackathon at the last minute yesterday, and I'm excited to learn some stuff about unit testing. Something interesting about me, I usually get to ride my bike to work every day. And so now I don't do that because it would just be across the hall in my house. So occasionally I will admit that I often block off fake meetings in my calendar, my CDC calendar, so that I can go outside and ride my bike for half an hour. And I can say that in this secure, supportive community of this hackathon. Thank you for letting me get that off my chest.
Thanks for letting us peer pressure you to come over here. It's going to be really good. Pedro?
Well, hello everyone. My name is Pedro, and I work at the Institute of Microbiology alongside Inês and Rafael. And my work there is mainly developing Chewbacca, although right now I'm more focused on developing Chewy-NES, which is short for the Chewbacca's nomenclature server. And as you all know, because Ines already said, I'm one of her, I would say, children, not slave, because I don't feel like a slave sometimes. And I would say something interesting is that Ines also said that, because she needs to let us talk a little bit about us as well, is that I tried one time to organize a little tournament of card games between us, namely Exploding Kittens and Sushi Go, and which resulted in very nice moments between breaks. And for the hackathon, I consider myself more of a developer than the stakeholder, because I really worked a lot on Chewbacca, but Ines and Rafael are more into it than I am. So I look forward to working with you all.
Sorry, I have to say, that is a lie, Pedro.
We'll talk later.
Thanks. Peter?
Hey, yeah, Peter van Hurston. I put a long intro on the Discord. I think I'm the only one of us on the African continent. I'm at the South African National Bioinformatics Institute, where I started off as the lab systems administrator and ended up working on Mycobacterium tuberculosis. Thank goodness not in the wet lab, because you don't want the sysadmin doing that. Yeah, I've got a lot of hats. I think I'm probably a bit of a stakeholder, a bit of a developer, a bit of a stakeholder, but trying to use this opportunity to improve the CWL tooling ecosystem around testing and testing the stuff in the BioCWL tools repository. And an interesting thing about myself, I think I'm the least qualified person on this call. I'm still doing my master's over several years.
Thank you. Poi or Paul Lee?
Hi, everyone. My name is Paul, and I'm with Los Alamos National Lab. And I'm a bioinformatician, and I do data analysis and software development. My role, I will choose the developers. I do GitHub this Git stuff on daily basis, and the interesting about myself, I attend to 3 meetings, conferences this week. This must be a very popular week.
Yeah, we probably chose a poor time. I realize that there is a lot happening around here now. Thank you for coming, though.
This is my favorite one.
Oh, great. Yes. Okay. Thank you. Raphael? Thanks. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No.
Okay. Raphael?
So, greetings, everyone. My name is Raphael. I'm a biologist and a bioinformatician. I work at the Institute of Microbiology in the Faculty of Medicine in the University of Lisbon, so that's Portugal. I work with Ines and Pedro. I work a lot in microbial typing, so I'm working in Chewbacca and in Chewy-NES. I hope to be a developer, but I don't know a lot about testing, so I'll try to focus also on getting some data and defining some priorities. Something interesting. So Ines definitely mistreats her slaves, and I really like coffee. So that's it.
Thank you. Robert, or I still can't remember if you go by Robbie or Robert, so I go back and forth. I'm sorry.
Robert will work fine. Let's see. I am a bioinformatician at Emory University, which is right next door to the CDC in the U.S. I act as support for a bunch of different labs in the infectious disease department, as well as my own. What role? I would say developer. I haven't really used GitHub Actions, but I've used GitLab for testing. And something interesting, I like to build things, so like carpentry, so furniture and that type of stuff.
That's cool. And we have a good representation, including you, of people from Georgia Tech, which I'm particularly proud of. So a few people here are, I know from the past from Georgia Tech. All right, next on the list, Verity. Did I pronounce your name right?
Hello. So I'm Verity. I'm at University of Edinburgh, like Anya, and I'm probably somewhere between a stakeholder and a developer. We were thinking that we might do some stuff on our software Civet, which is for tracking clusters in SARS-CoV-2. But I'm a very, very baby developer. I only got Git in January this year because I was forced to. Something interesting, I play the violin. That's about all I've got.
That's great. That's a good activity to have indoors during lockdowns.
I have not touched it. I have way too many neighbors.
Oh. All right, and the names have shuffled around on my list a little bit. Have I missed anybody for introductions?
I think you've had everyone. I've been trying to count as well.
All right, and I'm Lee Katz. I don't think I introduced myself too well at the beginning of this. I've been at CDC for about 10 years now, working on meningococcus, then cholera, then listeria, then E. coli, salmonella, campylobacter, chronobacter, Yersinia. I get to be a little bit of a jack of all trades. I like to have fun doing a podcast a little bit. Let me see. I'm going to be like Boas, and I'm going to be kind of going from group to group, kind of seeing how you guys are doing, kind of being like a teaching assistant, and hopefully problem solving. And something interesting about myself. Oh, we're going to have a baby girl in May. So let me see if I have, I'll put up a little announcement later on, I guess. Yeah. Oh, thanks. All right,
congratulations.
So thank you. So I'll be probably out of it and loopy in our talks later on over instant message and whenever else coming up in May. So if it's all right, I'm gonna just kind of lead us over to the next part of the hackathon. Up next is gonna be Boas showing us examples in unit testing, extremely valuable. After that, we're gonna go over to Discord and form teams, form individual projects. So hopefully those introductions kind of helped everybody understand who they might want to talk with after this. And then between now and then is going to be kind of independent. It's up to you. It's what you put in is what you get. So between when we end the hackathon and tomorrow, hopefully you guys are already self-organized and you're hacking away. And tomorrow we'll get updates. After we get situated, we'll get a keynote address also. I'm very happy about the speaker that Boas found. So anyway, do you feel like we need a break, or do you want to move right in? All right. How do you feel, Boas? Tiebreaker for nobody speaking up?
Yeah, I think maybe it's good to take 5 and then continue, because the explain the GitHub actions it's gonna be some details. So maybe 5 minutes break, and then we'll get back to it. That sound all right?
Sounds good. So on my clock, it's 9:48. We'll come back at like 9:55 or a little bit before that.
Sounds great. Yeah.
Is it going to be here on Zoom?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
Leave Zoom on.
Okay, I'll need to absent myself for a little bit to go check on my grandparents, and I'll run back.
All right. Thanks. 5 minutes, everyone.
See you in 5.